All right, everyone, we are live for the Solve for Why coverage of the heads-up duel between Daniel Negreanu and Doug Polk. I am by myself today, unfortunately. Let me just mute some things here. And no Matt Berkey today, so I am completely full screen myself. And I'm excited for a long match. We will have Matt Berkey hopefully later. He seems to be getting some work done, but I think he's with a nice lady that he doesn't want to tell me, which is all good. I am excited for today's match. Doug Polk began the match up 484,000. That might be I'm not sure if that was updated. He did win the last one for, I believe, close to over 100,000. So he is actually up 611,000 going into today's match. This is session number 27, and we have played 15,850 hands out of 25,000. So we are not in the home stretch, but we are significantly into this match. So what do we expect? A minimum of 2 hours. So it is 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. The players will play at least till 7:30, and from then it is anybody's guess. We've played as long as 9:30, and we've played as short as 7:30. So 3-bet pot on both tables. We'll stick to the blue table for now. Daniel puts in the 4-bet, 10,800. We've seen him do this with like King 5 suited. He also just have the real goods every now and then. Call. King 10-6 rainbow, definitely going to be better for Daniel generally speaking. But Doug will have a fair amount of continues here. He can have hands like Ace Jack, Ace Queen, 10X's. But we expect Daniel to start with a small bet. He usually does do this, something like 4K, 5K. 5,400. Difficult situation. Deuces spades. Now we're playing less than 1 SPR. Doug's definitely going to stack off any king at this point. Daniel can go bet check bet, or he can go bet bet. If he does go bet bet, we've seen him use a small size twice often in these 4-bet pots. He shoves. Ace Queen, no good. Doug did turn a flush draw as well as his middle pair, so he had an easy call off. Daniel did have a hand that wants to bluff there sometimes. He does block a fair amount of kings that continue. I believe his Ace Queen blocked the King Queen. So unfortunate there. Doug is gonna find an early double to propel himself to the lead in this match. We're only 4 minutes in. We already saw stack off and a 3-bet pot right to follow. As you see in the top right purple table, there's a 3-bet pot going on. Takes it down. I don't know, man. It's gonna be one of those where if the more he gets stuck today, the more I might consider drinking. But for now, we're calm and collected with some water. Focusing on the blue table, right table is in the top right corner. Ace 6 deuce on the left table. Doug starts with a small bet. It's called. See the small check raise on the right table. Daniel's been doing this a ton on these paired boards. The small check raise coming out very often. Probably do this with some 7x's, maybe some queen x's, as well as like some hands that wrap around the 7, maybe something like 9, 10 of clubs. Queen is interesting. Probably use some small sizing or checking. It does start with a check. Check's pretty normal. Both players want to have some traps here. If you're gonna drink, you need that young lady you had before who only talked about alcohol. Lynn, I think her name was. Yes, Rafi, her name was Lynn. Lynn G. The famous Lynn G. I like her. She's pretty fun to have. We did have a podcast yesterday asking if Berkey was even a pro. That was a little bit of a spicier podcast than usual. It was a hand that was reviewed by the poker guys, where they were like, we don't really agree with this. We don't know if Berkey was a pro or whatever. And then we responded yesterday. If you haven't seen that yet, it is on our channel. I believe that was episode number 28 of season 2. Single raise pot on the left table, Jack 8-6, board that allows a lot of gut shots for both players. See what kind of sizing or checking Doug chooses. He goes with the 40%. I think this is kind of nice on these kind of boards. Is Doug even a pro? Says TJ. I don't know, man. He was retired. Now he's not. It's kind of a nice. I don't know. I mean, I think he's a pro today. Comes with the overbet. I think this is nice. King is kind of a polarizing card. Bottom of his value range is probably something like King Queen. Nice hand. Doug into early control. Things can change quickly though. Does pro mean that is your main income source? I think so. I would say that there's a lot of semi-pros, people that have a job but play fairly well, and they play a lot. But yeah, I would say if you're a pro, you're probably, this is your main job. Yeah. There was a little bit of snark on Twitter around flushing today. Yeah, I think Daniel made a video where he said his opponent made a lot of flushes, but he only showed one flush. But I do think that there was a nice call by Daniel there on the left table, picks off the 8-9 bluff. I think that I saw the last match. I feel like Doug did make a fair amount of flushes. They just weren't really big, like massive hands, but I think that's what it was. I think that's why I named it that. It was a good session for Doug Polk last one. It was like pretty big. It was over 100K, so that was a needed one for Doug, if you want to say that. Obviously he's up a lot, but he was losing a fair amount of them in a row, so he got one back. Congratulations to him, I guess. Did Daniel get stacked early? He did. He ran a bluff with ace queen in a 4-bet pot, got called by middle pair, then a flush draw, bricked it, and here we are. Daniel stuck 65,000. What is a better place to grind, Los Angeles or Las Vegas for 1-3 and 2-5 or 5-5? I would say the rake is too high in LA for 1-3. I think that for that reason alone, I probably wouldn't play those stakes there. I think 5-5 is pretty nice. The rake is still higher than Vegas, but the games are really good. So I think that's a place where I definitely would consider playing 5-5. But if you are looking for like a less expensive place to live and consistent games and low rank, then Vegas is your place. So yeah, I think the 1-3 is just like not good in LA. Rake is too high. 3-bet pot on table number 1. Queen Jack 3. Probably gonna see a fair amount of like third pot from Daniel here, probably. Some checks as well, of course. There are some big bets played here, maybe like a king queen hand. Nice hand from Daniel. 3-bet pot now on the right table. Doug 3 bets, 10-10-4. Dangerous board. It's polarizing. Daniel will defend his Jack 10 offs and things like that. However, Doug won't be 3-betting them as often, so the 10x advantage slightly in the favor of Daniel. Constitutes the small bet from Doug. Gets called. Backdoor flush draw comes in. This is a card that's Doug has high check frequency on, but he does come with a bet. Daniel probably has to call all nut flush draws. Turn 7, he definitely has to call. 10x, of course, he'll have some traps here as well. If he has hands like maybe 9s, no spade, no heart, he could probably call through the turn as well. Probably just has to call all 9s, to be frank. Wins with the king high. Both players had a flush draw. Makes a lot of sense why Doug did choose to barrel through the turn. He had the queen high flush draw, not a lot of showdown with that hand. Nice hand, Daniel. Needed. Do you even like living in Vegas? I like certain aspects of it. I think it's one of those that it has a lot of pros and it has some cons. The cons is that it's a little bit of a man-made city. There's not a lot of like nature or green stuff that wasn't necessarily implanted there. But in terms of games, in terms of restaurants, in terms of just that kind of stuff, I think Vegas is great. Another negative is that most people aren't necessarily from Vegas, so it's like kind of I don't know. It's a different energy, right? It's like there's nothing like necessarily homegrown from Vegas. Everything's like imported, including the people. So, you know, it is what it is. Let's see. No Berkey, no crypto ticker. Yeah. We try to keep things positive. I think Bitcoin's down a little bit today. 7 high flush for Daniel. Just because someone might be considered a pro doesn't mean they're only going to play a GTO style. Is what I'm clarifying. Yeah, I mean, listen, like there's been like pro only means that you make money through this game or allegedly make money through this game. I mean, you have to be making money through the game or else you're not going to be a pro that long. But that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has a uniform play style. Doesn't necessarily mean anything like that. Many people have made money through a lot of different ways. Yeah, Bitcoin is down 36.7. People say it's dead. I think it's pretty far from dead, but we'll see. Daniel really needs a 2 to 300k session in the next 5,000 hands, or Doug Polk will adopt a style that is much less impossible to lose the match during the end game. Yeah, but remember, the thing is that we don't really know. It's one of those where in the Doug Polk, this Doug Polk versus Daniel match is much different than the Phil Goffond Vinny Vidi match, where we knew exactly what the stakes were in terms of the side bet. Here we don't really know. We have heard rumors that the players have side bets going, but we don't know what are the terms. We've heard that there's a 10-1 going. We've heard that maybe there is a big blinds being laid, things like that, but we don't really know the terms, so we don't know what approach is optimal if one player has the lead at the end, because we don't know, right? In the Phil Galfond versus Benavidez match, I think we all had the complete information, and we were able to assess, like, okay, if one player has this much of a lead towards the end, they should just like be limping and like folding and stuff like that. But I don't know I don't know with these guys. Check raise from Daniel wins it. 45,000 in the plus for Doug Polk. I would love to not see a Doug Polk victory back to back, especially not one where I'm by myself in the booth where I have to suffer it all by myself. You know, and of course with my lovely audience. Did you read Gavin Smith unexpectedly passes away at age 50? I didn't read that. Is that an article or a book? I thought Gavin Smith was great for poker. I thought he was one of the most entertaining people to watch. He was one of the first people I watched on TV when I got into it. I didn't really know what he was doing. I thought he was like living in Alaska, running a game in Alaska, and that's kind of the last I heard. Like, and then after that, he was just like kind of passed away. But it was like one of those unfortunate events. But anyone else think Joey Ingram is obnoxious as fuck? I mean, he has his own style, man. Like, everyone has their own style. Like, some people want to see the analytics, some people want to see the fucking truck go through the screen. Everyone's different. Small lead from Doug on the blue table after he leads for one big blind on the deuce pairing. We've seen this pretty common from these guys after the cards pair, especially the middle or bottom card. We see the one big blind lead of fair frequency. It's interesting because it's one of those that's like, at least for me, it's relatively tough for me to figure out the right ratio of like balance to bluffs and like how often we should be doing it. But Daniel does respond with the turn raise followed by a river overbet. This is like literally repping deuce X or a house. Probably one of the better deuce X's also. Time bank activated. If Doug shoves, this has to be like 3-5 of spades. 3-5 of spades, ace deuce. That's kind of the bottom. Mostly houses though. Hands like jack deuce, things like that are probably just like bluff catchers at this point. Fold. Nice hand, Daniel. I have seen, I think Daniel, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what his career is going to hold, but I think if he wants to go down this path of getting significantly better, I mean, it's just a little impressive. Like, obviously I'm a fan of his and a supporter of his, etc. But it's only been like 3 months that he's been working, right? And it's shown a lot, like what you can do in 3 months. Gotta respond to the messages. There are some the phone calls. Doug now up 30,000. Doug wins a small one, medium one, 7K. Stakes are so big, medium one is small one is 7K. Playing 10-20, you win a 7K pot. It's like that's the whole day. It really is. It's pretty wild. Are you grinding a lot of hours nowadays? Like straight playing? Yes. Yes-ish. Not live, but yes. I miss live though. It's one of those, live is a different beast. Like, it's just such a beautiful game. It's like you show up, the game is what it is that day. The next day it's a different game. Still no limit hold'em, but you don't know what you're gonna show up to. I've been in situations where, like, I'm literally going home, my chips are in the rack, and then somebody walks in, wants to play, and I'm like, well, guess these chips are going back on the table, and then better get a coffee. And it's so amazing. Like, you never know what's gonna happen. 3-bet pot on table number 1, the blue table. King 6-4. Gonna see probably a fair amount of range betting here from Daniel. Small size. It's a pretty good board for him. There's 2100. King 6-4 though, there's a lot of backdoors available because it's a rainbow board. We're gonna see a fair amount of floats, but not this time. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Leftley says, I assume there was a side bet. Thanks for clarifying. Yeah, there is. There is a side. Okay, I don't know. I can't say 100% there is, but I will say with high confidence that there is. But we just don't know what they are. We have no idea the terms of it. So we're just observers at this point. Mastermind is tomorrow. Yes, Berkey does have a mastermind tomorrow. He is working on it now, which is why I am here by myself. If he does tune in or is listening, he can put the details in the chat. And they're always pretty good. They're usually longer than advertised. You're like, hey, Berkey, we're gonna do a webinar. It's like, oh, how long is it? 2 hours. Like, okay, well, and I'm like, hey, Berk, what are you doing? I'm like, he's like, hey, I'm doing the webinar. I'm like, bro, you started at 2. It's 7. He's like, yeah, man, they got me. It's a little too much, in my opinion. Christian, what do you think of Lynn's shove on high stakes poker with Queen 10 of Hearts? This was a hand that was messaged to me by many different people. I had a full-blown conversation about it today with one of my best friends, and he was like, what the fuck? She's terrible, all this stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, this is a thing. Like, it wasn't great, obviously. Like you know, it's not an optimal play. It's not even close to optimal. It's pretty bad, probably, and like, unless a very, very, very specific parlay of events are going on. But I don't want to say that she's bad because of that one hand. Like, I think if we like take a snapshot of every single person's worst moments on TV or on the table, overbet from Daniel on the right table, I think this is good. On the very innocuous deuce of hearts, gets called. So I'll get back to my thoughts. Banfu says, please do not justify. Please, I'm not gonna justify. I think the play was bad. But I'm just saying, like, I don't want to say she's bad because the play is bad. Like, there's a difference between like making a really bad play versus like the person's not good at poker. And that's kind of a lot of the conversation. Nice hand from Daniel. Rivers the queen. Finds the check. Check. You know, a little bit, maybe a little tight. Who knows? Yeah, I think the play was bad, of course, man. Like, no one's justifying the play. Like, Dwan called the button with queens, waiting for somebody to jump out the window, and they did, right? Won like $1 million pot or something crazy, right? Was the play bad? Yes, the play was bad. The play was bad. She was betting on a certain parlay of events occurring, where JRB is 3 betting light and Dwan is 4 betting light as the back raise. And she was wrong. Play was bad. I don't think she sucks though. Like, that was my bigger point. Play was bad. Play was horrendous. Like, I would have been upset if like I had a piece, right? I do think that everyone sometimes goes with a read and they fucking look awful, man. Like, it is what it is. That's kind of was my bigger point. What are these colors, man? Hearts are green, spades are not black. We were playing with it. It's try to make it a little bit more dynamic. Also, like, potentially easier to see if you're watching on mobile. If people hate it, maybe we'll put it back. I wasn't the biggest fan of it at first either, to be honest with you, but it's kind of grown on me. Let's see. Y'all are acting like y'all are without mistakes. It's pretty funny. Yeah. I think everyone makes mistakes, man. I had this conversation yesterday with Berkey. If we put anyone under a microscope for like a longer period of time, you're gonna see a lot of mistakes. It's just that simple. Where was this hand played? This hand was played on High Stakes Poker. That is on Poker Go. It was the last episode of High Stakes Poker. To recount the hand effectively, middle position opened, who I believe was, I'm not sure who opened it. One person called, and then Tom Dwan over flattered queens on the button, which is like, I don't know. Like, he was obviously like thinking some things were gonna happen. Small blind folds, and Lynn calls in the middle blind with Queen 10 suited. JRB now 3 bets from the straddle with Ace King. Opener calls, Dwan back raises for now the call 4-bet line. Lynn then shoves after just calling from the middle blind. I mean, she better have something. And then it goes shove because JRB has Ace King suited and Dwan has queens. So obviously she gets it in like a horrendously bad. They run it 3 times. Dwan scoops all of them because it's Tom Dwan and he's on High Stakes Poker, so there's no way he's gonna lose. And that's the end of that. So the whole conversation was like, why did Lynn call back shove Queen 10 suited? Clearly she had some sort of read gone wrong, right? That's just simply what it is. Like, she thought that JRB was full of shit, 3 betting from the straddle, and that Dwan, there's no way Dwan is calling the button and then, finding a hand that can 4-bet. Like, that doesn't really happen that much. So she thought that JRB was full of shit and Dwan is also full of shit, and she has a hand with equity, so she threw it in the middle. And she was wrong. What do you want? Like, what do you want me to do? I don't know. Within that story, I did miss a 22K pot developing on the right table, so hopefully we get a replay of that. Daniel's all in. Doug in the tank. The bluffs for Daniel here, probably something like Jack 10. Yeah, Jack 10, no club seems kind of nice. Anything like that seems okay to me. Doug deep in the tank. Call, that's forceful. Doug in the tank with a king. Wow. Wow. I mean, for Doug to go that deep in the tank, he must. Wow, that was interesting. I'm very curious about this replay. Like, why did Doug tank so long?
seems like he maybe thinks Daniel's not bluffing enough there. That was kind of interesting. It was just tanking their king, no club, no 10, no jack. So some interesting one to tank there. Okay, so raise call. King 9-4. Check raise. Did not come on the flop. Wow, I see. Okay. Wow, pretty sick hand. Okay, so Daniel delays the check raise to the turn and then bombs it on the river. Yeah, that makes sense why he tanked there. That makes more sense. It's like one of those hands where, you know, king is a bluff catcher for sure. King is a bluff catcher. He has to kind of assess what kind of hands does Daniel check call flop, check raise turn, things like that. Looks like this is potentially a 4-bet pot. No, 3-bet C-bet. River 6. Ship it to Daniel. 122,000 on that purple table. That has to eviscerate Daniel. Sorry, that has to eviscerate Doug's lead today. Daniel now up 10K. Just like that. 30 minutes. We have swung. 60K down. 10K up. 30 minutes. The strokes just started. Now we're up 25K. 2 seconds later. Because of the magic of production. Alright. Leftley says... Sorry, Jesus Christ. I can't even address the chat. Every hand is just like a bazillion dollars in there. Can we grab that one? Seems like it was a 4-bet bet all in. Seems fine. Okay. Here we go. Hopefully there's not like a, you know, while I'm doing this, another 50K pot. So 3-bet, 4-bet, call. Yeah, this was as expected. Queen Jack 10, very good for Daniel. Small bet, call, rips through the turn. Yep, nice hand, Daniel. Increases the lead. Overall assessment of high stakes poker so far, I've been disappointed. It goes to show how much the game has lost in character from the likes of Sammy Farha. I thought it was, I mean, the thing is, you're just not, like, you know, we want to recreate what was once there, right? But you just can't, man. Like, it's a different era. I think they did a good job. Like, Jeremy is someone that you need to have in games, because between his storytelling, between, you know, his antics and him saying like I lose every fucking flip and all this shit, like he's a great person to have, right? Have to have JRB in the game. I think Lynn was entertaining with her gameplay, and you know, Durr is gonna be Durr. Like at the end of the day, like he's gonna bring action. He's raising the 3-4 suited. He's in there. He's in the mix, right? I really enjoyed the baseball player they had. I think that they need to bring him back. Like he was a lot of action, and he was mixing it up. So I really enjoyed that. You're just not gonna get Sammy Farha again. Like it just doesn't happen anymore. So we're gonna need to curate talent. Let the new guard come in and see who sticks, right? Who's going to be the next wave of entertaining players, like, and that's gonna take some time. You're not just gonna like get it out of the blue, right? You're gonna have to like trial and error, let people sit, and continue to do it over and over again. I think they are gonna change the lineup now, right? They're going to bring on Phil Ivey. They're gonna bring on Durr. That's gonna be fun to watch. Like I'm not missing an episode of that. Like just both those guys in the mix. I think Jakoon is going to be in the mix as well in that match. So like that's going to be like a trio worth watching, right? Like those three there are like, if you're a poker nerd like I am, I'm definitely in there. But in terms of like Sammy Farha, like you're just gonna need time. We're gonna need time. We're gonna need time to figure out who is the next entertaining batch of people, and let them have a seat. But it's gonna take some time, man. Let's see. Tony G is needed. Yeah, Tony G's entertaining for sure. But you know, he's too rich to like be flying around the world for only high stakes poker. You're gonna need to make the game maybe bigger, honestly. Like it's so like I know the game was big, like 400, 800, but like Tony G, like it needs to be bigger than that. So maybe like some 1,000, 2,000 for Tony G. Yeah, his name is Schwimmer. Little 7 Dewey for my man Daniel on the left table. Takes it down. He's up $35,000. Yeah, no, Tony G, he plays a lot in those Macau games, right? I don't know if it's actually Macau, but in the Triton Series games, you'll see him mixing it up in those games for very, very high stakes. So I don't think he's gonna like Fighter America for like a 400, 800 game. Dwan's mindset was overcalling on the button to induce the squeeze. Yeah, I think that's pretty much exactly what happened. He thought something was up. Another question on what are your thoughts on Lynn's Queen 10 hand on high stakes? I just spoke about it, but to recount, I think the play wasn't great, and a long series of parlays needed to occur for the play to be good, or at least for the play to work, rather. And it didn't happen that time. So yeah, like that's what it is. When are you getting on high stakes poker? Me? I didn't even get an invite. So there was an article on Pocket Fives where they said, like, you know, they were like naming the people that people wanted to see on there, and my name was fortunately mentioned. It was the last name though. It was like the last fucking name. I wasn't at the top of the list. I was the last name. So maybe there's people that want to see me on there. It would be fun. It would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun, but we'll see. I don't play 400, 800, so I would need to sell action. But I think hopefully I can find some people to buy it, because I definitely can't. I'm not rolled for those games. But it'll be a lot of fun. Let's see. Daniel with these overbets now. I feel like a proud parent. He has grown up quickly, I would say. Has developed a fair amount of skills in a short amount of time. These deck colors are insane. Gotta put up the vote sooner or later. 1 to abolish, 2 to abolish right now. Some people, you know, some people like stuff and some people don't like stuff. It's all a matter of taste. How about the clubs? Do the clubs look good to you? I think the clubs are nice. I'm such a nerd. Like the hand with Lynn, it was like a really insane hand, but like there were other hands that I was like way more critical of that wasn't that hand, and I would like text my friends, and I'd be like, this hand is not a top level like hand, and it was not even the Queen 10 hand. It was a lot of other hands that I was just like, I don't know about this, but you know. everybody's a everybody's a critic, including myself sometimes. So I also am one of those people that give the benefit of the doubt to people a lot, where I'm just like, not everybody has the good day every single day. So I've lit it on fire in a couple spots that I wish I could take back, but it is what it is, man. When the cameras are rolling, you just try for that day to not be the day. Did Shin just use a new word? Wasn't? I don't know, man. I just speak. Sometimes English is hard, man. I learned English listening and watching Bugs Bunny when I was a kid. My parents didn't know English, so I wasn't in school. So I just like turned on Cartoon Channel and Bugs Bunny was like, "What's up, Doc?" And then eventually I understood what the hell that meant. Literally how I learned English was pretty wild. I didn't watch it, but if Jeremy raising every hand pre-flop, Dwan and Lin could both be limping back raising. Yeah. Effectively, a parlay of events needed to occur for the hand to be good. When you're right, you look like a genius. When you're wrong, you look like the hand was really bad. Another one of these like one big blind leads on the paired board, this time on the ace. This does put a lot of pressure on like not a lot of pressure, but pressure on like the nothing hands, right? Like if Daniel just has like the queen jack off with a heart or a club that he was like planning to double or maybe like check back the turn and bluff river. Now he just like is in an annoying spot. Maybe that's what he had. Just finds the snap fold on the river. Abolish the deck has one. Abolish the deck hater? Okay, so I see what they did there. The truth of the matter is that it was all a setup for Dur to just win. Because it's high stakes poker and there's no way, can't have Dur lose. It's just a tradition. Overbet after flop C-bet from Doug on the jack. There's a lot of bluffs available for Doug here. Queen 10, King 10, 9 10, 5 7. A myriad of club hands as well. Ace 10 of clubs though. It's a nice hand. Daniel with a little bit of a light call on the turn. No club, 10 9. His draw was dominated. You know what was a little interesting with this high stakes poker and poker after dark simultaneous release is that I feel like poker after dark got a little bit of the short end of the stick here, man. Like poker after dark is like a pretty prestigious show, and it's unfortunate that it was like overshadowed by high stakes. Like maybe they should have spread it apart a little bit. I don't know. I don't like Poker After Dark is such a prestigious show, but now it's like taking such a back burner to high stakes poker because they're being released like so close together, right? It's just like I think Monday's Poker After Dark and Wednesday potentially is a high stakes poker. And it's like I just log on to Poker Go now on Wednesday, like just what it is right now. So maybe I don't know. I could be alone in that opinion. It just feels that way. Like nobody's really talking about poker after dark. Everybody's only talking about high stakes. Daniel up 45,000. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's like are you watching Poker After Dark as much as you're watching high stakes poker? I'm not sure. Land on this river, 13-8 in the middle. Oh, 20,000. Nice hand. Looks like the chat is saying, some of them saying they watch both, some of them are saying that they forgot about Poker After Dark altogether, saying like some other people saying that High Stakes Poker is definitely the favorite child. I agree. I think, I don't know their schedule and stuff like that, but it feels like maybe they could have spread it a little bit. I'm not sure. Not sure. I have Poker Go and don't even realize there were new Poker After Dark episodes until last week. Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I feel like it's overshadowed, big time overshadowed. So it's a little bit unfortunate because it's such a great show. I just watch whatever show Ivy and Dwan are on. Same, bro. You can put them in the fucking basement. I'll watch that show. Yeah, Dwan and Dur definitely move the needle in all poker shows. Sorry, Ivy and Dur. I don't know why I said Dwan and Dur. They're the same person. Yeah, Ivy and Dur definitely move the needle. Another one of these very small leads on the paired board. I'm gonna start doing this to people, man. I'm just gonna start like betting min. It's like pot's like 2,000. I just bet $20. Turn queen. 1% pot. Does it with the 8, and the 8 is going to win. Tough play to play against. It's annoying. Like, does he have a queen? Does he have an 8? Does he have a draw? If he raise, I don't think he's folding an 8. He's gonna call. Players approaching, just crossed the 45-minute mark, actually. Berkey in the shadows today. Who knows where that man is? Probably in the desert. Picking up that body I left. That he doesn't want to know how I got there. Bad eyebrow day? I don't know. Let me see. I don't know. Is it? You tell me, bro. I feel like your wife liked them. Oh, shit. Christian holding down the fort. Yep. For now, trying to do his best job I can. Oh, says not yours, Berkey. Yeah, Berkey really does want to get that eyebrow money down. Definitely wants to get that eyebrow money down. Jerry Garcia says less fat, Chid. I am less fat. That is true. It's a lot of work, but I am less fat. Still a work in progress, though. Still a work in progress. But half the game is showing up. Show up and just do the work. What's the side bet on the 25,000 hands? We don't know. We spoke a little bit about this earlier. So we don't know what the side bet is. We've heard rumors that potentially, nice call. We heard rumors that potentially somebody's being laid, Daniel's being laid big blinds, like a certain amount of big blinds. So if, let's say he loses within a certain amount, he still wins, right? But we're not sure, right? It's not official. This was, I was talking about this a little earlier in terms like we don't necessarily know the official side bet, as we did with the Phil Galfond versus Vinny Vidi match. That match we knew the official side bet. We know the side bet of the Galfond versus Chance match, but we don't know the side bet here. So we're just speculating. But I think it's fair to say that there is a side bet, and we can take a guess as to if he's being laid big blinds. It seems reasonable. Banfu asks, "You gonna take the vaccine, Chin?" I actually was thinking about this today. I think I should, right? Like, just have to, right? Like, especially someone like me that's like more likely to be somewhere. Like, let's say like there's a really big game that I can't miss or something like that. Like, be kind of nice to know that I have taken the vaccine rather than like bring. Yeah, I've brought like a Lysol to a game and a mask and stuff like that, but it's kind of nice to just take the vaccine and still bring the Lysol to the game. But yeah, seems like you definitely should take it. Interesting thing is, like, I haven't really looked into it as much as I probably should have, just because I feel as if I would be pretty far down on the list, but I probably should look into that. Have any of you taken the vaccine? What was the actual process of doing that? Seems like kind of a no-brainer to take it at this point. The players are on a little break. We're approaching 1 hour. Daniel's back, up 45,000. Sam says, "Please take the vaccine." Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think seems like we should get him in the arms of as many people as we can as fast as possible. Moderna is better than the Pfizer vaccine? Or they're like, why is that? Why is the Moderna vaccine better than the Pfizer vaccine? I literally have no idea, because I don't know what goes into it. Okay, so I have to go online and see what's available and stuff like that. Okay, I'll look into it for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between. I'll cover it after this hand, after the Doug overbet. Doug comes with the 1.5x. After the 4 only completes 5-6. River 5 of spades. That's not great for Doug. Get a replay of this hand. He comes with the block bet. It's a really interesting hand. Daniel deep in the tank. I'm gonna be curious to rewatch this hand. Goes with the call, 4-6. Unlucky for Daniel there. Doug Rivers is straight. Yeah. No fun. Or all the fun if you're watching the upswing stream. I've got all of Landon Tight's personal habits. I'm just missing the poker ability. How hard can that be? Well, if you get in the lab for 3 months like Daniel did, you might get pretty good. I mean, it's all about how badly you want it. I heard if you get the vaccine, you become contagious. That's a good point. I don't know how that works. It seems like it's a very small dose, though, that you get. So it's kind of, I don't know how contagious you would get. But I'm not sure, man. Science is not, like, medical science is not my expertise. Lead closes. Daniel now only up 20K. King 8 deuce on the right table. Daniel's probably going to start with some small bets. Comes with a quarter. Three by bringing some big bets. Definitely going to see something like maybe 75 to over bets. Comes with a check. Some fair amount of showdown value hands. Maybe a mix of hands that are like weak kings as well. Daniel now facing the block from Doug. Doug could still have some ace highs that floated the flop, river and ace. Out of line story time? I don't know, man. Trying to stay in line. This is a long stream. If I get out of line, then I don't know. Which science is your expertise? 3 question marks. I don't know, man. There's a lot of different science. Everything's a science now. You have political science, social science. Every fucking science is a science. Out of line story. Nah, I save the out of line stories for when Berkey's here because it makes him uncomfortable. So like, that's when the out of line stories get in because his reactions are funny. I don't want to go through the whole. I mean, I have a lot of out of line stories. I lived like a pretty wild life before I moved to Vegas. Eight, 6 wins it. There's a lot of talk about the vaccine in the chat. A lot of back and forth on that one. I'm not sure. I think people should just take it, man. Just take it. What's the problem? We've taken all other vaccines before. Three bet on the right table, take it down. All this shit about the fucking vaccine in the chat. God damn. So many conspiracy theories this last few months. Was it really from a bat or was it a bio attack? I don't know. I don't think it was a bio attack. But you never know. We live in wild days. Ace Jack 5 monotone. Probably board. We're gonna see some small bets. Here comes the quarter again. It's gonna be interesting the day that I see these bets used in like all the live games, where it's like the 10% lead on the board pair, the quarter pot size bet, all this shit. Just gonna be like, maybe I'll go find something else to do. Maybe that'll be the day I just like move to San Fran or Miami and just get into business. Chin, what happened to the summer tap tweeting? Those were the best things on Twitter. They were good. I don't know. It kind of felt like a job where like I had to do it every time I played. So I kind of got away from it for a little bit. I will bring it back at some point. I didn't want it to get stale, you know? I didn't want it to become like, I don't know, like I didn't want it to get stale. So I kind of like ended season 1 of it. And maybe I'll bring it back again. But yeah, those tap threads are crazy, right? Like that's kind of the shit that goes on in my brain sometimes. It's like all these freaking people in here. They all have these characters. Like they're all a character in a story. But yeah, the tap threads were really cool. Come to San Francisco, Chin. Yeah, I think San Francisco is probably a place I do want to end up eventually. Everybody's moving to Miami though. Like that's what I keep reading. Like all of the tech stuff is moving to Texas or Miami. So Miami sounds nice to me. I like that Miami. All those nice Cuban ladies and I like that. Chin, plans for future in-person academies? We're playing it by ear, man. It's one of those where I am concerned with everybody's safety. You know, having 18 people in there plus production, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work in terms of like making sure everybody is safe, and I just don't. It's too much. I don't want to have a death in my fucking hands again, you know. If Trump takes the vaccine, I will too. I don't even think. Does he? See, I don't even know how that works. Like, if you get the virus, you probably should still get the vaccine because you're only immune for like 3 months. Check flop. Small lead from Daniel on the right table. Yeah, I think if you become immune, not immune, but like if you get the antibodies, it's good for 3 months, and then you should probably get the vaccine. Full house. Doug Polk. Nice hand. Still a comeback from Daniel, right? He was down 60K early. He was down 60K like within 10 minutes. He could have been like, oh, it's gonna be one of those days again. I'm gonna lose 100,000. Instead, he fought back. 1 hour in, he's up 20K. Probably a little less given the last couple hands, but within that scope. 3-bet. Doug's in the tank. 4-bets usually come in, but not this time. Let's see where Bitcoin is currently. Let's see. I would take hopefully over 37. No, rejected. 36.6. It's over. It's dead. Man, I would love to see Daniel just like win a couple more of these like streaks, right? And get this down to under under 300. If this lead becomes under 300 and it's peak incinerated for Doug Polk, things are gonna get interesting. Things are gonna get interesting. David in the chat says bye. I'm with you, man. I'm very bought in. I am very bought in. I'm bought in to the point where it scares me, where it's like, and that's how I know that it's gonna be okay, right? Because 15K for my man Daniel in there. Because when it's like a little bit scary, it feels good. It feels good. It's like, damn, well, this will really fuck me up if it goes left. But it's like, but if it goes right, ball game. If it goes right, ball game. What's up with you guys in the chat, man? Y'all bugging out? Like everything's being deleted and like someone's going crazy in there. My man Sam I Am, everything's deleted from Sam I Am. I think he asked for a job. Might have to get back to covering these hands. Y'all people going crazy about this vaccine, aren't they? Turnover bet from Doug on the non-connecting 3 of clubs. It's gonna win. Doug does find those overbets on those non-connecting cards, right? Where like the EV distribution between the two players gets a little bit in the favor of Doug, or at least in the favor of the original Razor. Does find it. Is there a number for you where you quit poker? Oof. I don't know. It would be kind of nice to like quit, never play another hand again. I don't know if I want to do that, but like, cause I really love poker. But there's definitely numbers where I won't be a pro anymore. I think, maybe move on to other high demanding risk things, maybe like VC or something. $2.5 million is definitely not enough. No way. I'm not. No way. I'm not quitting poker about 2.5 million. Doug's winning 600K right now. Like, 2.5 million is not enough. Has to be like a big number. North of 10 for sure. For me to like never play another hand. 16? 16? If you put 16 in front of me, I'll probably not play another hand. That's fine. 16, I won't play another hand. Like, I don't know though. God, I don't know. 16 feels nice though. Like immediate 16 today, I probably won't play another hand. But it's not 2. Just to be done with serious play. Yeah, 16 million, but I could still play, but like not professional. Like I could just like find a game in LA, with some people that are kind of nice. I think so. But not 2.5. 2.5 I'm still playing. Here comes Berkey. Berkey has left his time to produce the webinar to come chime in on this discussion because he needs to know. What do you think your 10-year earn is? How about love, Berkey? Do you ever think about that? How much is love worth to you? How much is passion worth to you? How much is passion worth to you, Berkey? Tell me. There you go. %40 on the 10-8-6. Well, you guys know Berkey's number. If anyone wants to see Berkey not be a pro anymore, like the poker guys have said for many years, just hand over 5 million. Berkey won't play anymore. He won't be a pro. Four bet on the first table. Players are a little deeper. That's going to take it down, though. Is he a pro now? Says Dominic. Yeah, I think so. He's still hanging in there. He's making a webinar for all y'all tomorrow. Where did Dan Coleman go? I think that guy smashed life right down to his refusal to embrace the press, knowing he was going to just try and disappear at some point. I have listened to some of Dan Coleman's interview / discussion on a podcast with Olivier Biscay, and I think he said he kind of regrets that time frame and like kind of the way that he handled that situation in terms of the press and stuff. But yeah, man, he definitely crushed. Like, he crushed that situation, right? Nice hand from Daniel there, 9,000. He crushed that spot. He really capitalized on the opportunities he had, and then said, "I'm out. No more." He got a bunch of money and decided to do something else with his life. I think that's cool. I do think that he didn't owe anybody anything, right? He had his group of friends, and he said, let's get together, let's make some money, we'll have an edge. Capitalized on that edge and bounced. I'm for it. I think that's cool. It's like if he also played like a ton of hours, right? Like I was listening to some of his stuff, and it was like he played so many hours for so many years, holding lobbies and all this stuff, and at some point it's just you just kind of want to walk away with the fruits of your labor. I don't know how many four bet pot. I don't know how many lifelong poker players there'll be out of this generation, like especially the generation coming right after mine, right? Like the 21, 22, that 21 through 25 crowd. Like I feel like it's a different goals, right? Like my generation, I think wanted to be like aspired at least to be like the generation that came before us. But I don't think this generation does that. I think this generation that's coming right after mine, the 21 through 25, it's all about just take the money and run. King 7 deuce, very good board for Daniel. Quarter pot. It's a 4-bet pot on the left. Gets called. Aces. I think both players will have coverage here. I think all of Daniel's ace-X's are going to bet the flop. However, I do think a fair amount of the floats from Doug are going to be ace-X of hearts, and ace-X of spades. Ace-X of hearts, ace-X of spades. Daniel will still have some traps here with ace-king, maybe some like ace 10. Let's see. 21,000. This does feel like ace 10. Yeah, ace 10 makes sense for his value region. He could also just be bluffing. He is bluffing this time. Jack 10 high. No bueno. Finds the 4-bet, bet flop, check turn, bet river. I think both players played that hand fairly well. Good call by Doug Polk with the king 10. Where is the passion from the new generation? I think there are some though. You know, we could all like pick apart Lin G's play, but she has heart, man. Like, she has a lot of heart. I've played a fair amount of hours with her, and she fights hard. Like, she fights hard. Like, you're gonna be ready for barrels. You got to be ready for 3-bets. You got to be ready for 4-bets. You got to be ready. You know, you got to come prepared to hold on to your seat when you do play with her. And she fights hard, man. So, and she shows up to play. I think there are other people out there like her that are fighters that are going to show up to play for a long period of time. I was having this discussion today, like a pretty long discussion with my friends. I'm like, hey, man, like these people show up. Like they show up to play and they're ready to battle. It's not gonna be an easy ride. So you gotta do your thing in terms of showing up, doing the work on and off the table, because these people are, you know, you can critique them all you want, but they're showing up, and I do respect that about them. Big raise. Let's raise this pretty big. Let's get a replay of this hand on the right table. Even if it folds, I still kind of want to just see how this is going out. I like to yell at these young kids to get off my lawn. Left Lee says, I'm 50 plus and higher people. The younger generation treat life as a series of fulfillment episodes and constantly evaluating optimality. Very difficult to hire the old way, and very glad for that. Yeah, I think there's been a change in the thought process in terms of kind of just agreed. Like thinking in terms of like what's optimal, right? And like leaving a little bit of the old way out, leaving some of the emotions out, and looking forward to that. So a lot of like disruptive thought processes are pushing through, which I think is great. We need a WSOP champ that will be an ambassador one freaking time. Let me think of like the best ambassadors that were WSOP main event champions out of the last like recent memory, as a pot is developing on table number 1 as well. Let me pull up a list. WSOP main event champs. Pot brewing on table 1 though. Doug now up 5K. Check turn. Wow, that gets snapped. Nice bet from Daniel there. 28,000. The quickness of that call made it seem like Doug probably had a hand similar in hand class. Okay, let's see. We got Damian Salas, uh, Hassan last year, John Sin, Scott Blumstein, Qui Win, Joe McKeon, Martin Jacobson, Ryan Reese, Greg Merson, Pius Hines, Jonathan Duhamel, Joe Cata, Peter Eastgate, Jerry Wang, Jerry Yang, Jamie Gold. Joe Hashem, I think, was a great ambassador for sure. Greg Raymer, of course, Chris Moneymaker. And before that, does it really count? Does it really count before Moneymaker? Nah. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Man. I mean, they're not lying. I mean, a lot of these guys aren't really like out there promoting the brand. Not that they have to, right? Not that they it's not something that is in their contract or anything like that. It's, to each his own. So it's not, but I do agree that some have been more than others, right? So let's see. I don't want to put a list. I'm just gonna say who for sure has been like great ambassadors. So I am gonna go before the Chris Moneymaker. So Huck Seed for sure was a great ambassador, right? Scotty Wynn, no doubt about it. I'm gonna skip over the fucking Jesus guy. Carlos Mortensen for sure, great ambassador. I mean, for sure, not close. Of course, Moneymaker. I think Greg Raymer was okay. Like, Joe Hashem was really good. Jamie Gold was really good. I mean, you say what you want about the guy, but the guy definitely was out there in the mix and like promoting the game, and like I think it's cool. Seidel was not a main event champion. Everybody forgets that, but he did take second, a very famous second. Peter Eastgate, no. Joe Cata. I mean, Joe Cata's nice. Like, Joe Cata's such a nice guy. Like, he's like nice. He's like too nice. It's too nice where it makes me think he's up to something. Jonathan Duhamel. No. Yeah, I mean, you guys have a good case, right? Like, there haven't been a lot of people that like won the main event and like went out there and promoted the game, but at the same time, right? Is it their fault? Like, it's not as if there's like a clear way to do that. There's no playbook. There's no like, nowadays if you're promoting the game of poker, you probably have a YouTube channel. You probably have a stream like this. You probably have a podcast. You probably have some sort of outlet that is digital to help you do that, right? Even like Gus Hansen, right, with his, his IG stories were magnificent. You see Jungle Man on Instagram doing his thing, right? We see, not that this counts, but you do see I'm forgetting his name now. The owner of Ignite. I don't know why his name is slipping, but you effectively, there is the people that have won haven't necessarily had those platforms on them already. So what you're really gonna need is like someone like a Johnny Vibes, like just like wins the main event, right? So where like a channel just explodes because he's covering Dan Bilzerian, excuse me. He's covering the main event in a way that we've never seen before, right? It's just like you have the inside scoop of the main event in a way that's never been done, and I think that would be huge, right? Someone with like some sort of an established outlet. It would just crush it. It would just crush it. Unfortunately, all of the people that have one have tried to do something retroactively, which that's fine. Right, like we saw Martin Jacobson do it, right? I think he had a documentary on it, And I think we also saw Scott Blumstein attempt to do it. It hasn't been out yet. But those two people definitely tried to do it, right? We even saw people like Jason Kuhn in his, he was doing a documentary on his like super high roller. We saw Matt Berkey do a documentary on his super high roller. So I think people are trying. I think it's just gonna take the perfect storm, so to speak, where it's like someone with a platform already, someone that's like a known figure, and boom, it just like happens, right? Um, but yeah, for now, we're congratulations to Damian Salas, right? I I, I don't know much about him. I know he's a grinder. I know he works hard, and I didn't know Hassan. I didn't know him much. I knew Johnson from like his run before that, as well as some like cash games from LA. But he's like kind of, he's a chill dude, but like pretty quiet. So yeah, gonna need a perfect storm, or you're just gonna need someone with a character, like a really big character. Got a replay on the left table. All the chips. Let's go, Daniel. Let's go. Let's see. The only thing that can bring back poker, the only thing that can bring poker back to 2017 levels is national legislation of online poker, which will not happen due to very big native lobby plus billionaire lobby in Congress. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need some luck to go your way there. The passing of Adelson is probably a net positive for poker. Um, and, I don't like to like dance on someone's grave like that, but it is definitely a positive, right? Even if at the end of the day, his his next of kin continues the same path, there's always like a slight change. Maybe the son or those people aren't necessarily so like strict on it. We don't know though. I never met them. They didn't come to my home. They didn't come to my house game. But yeah, we're gonna have to just see how things play out. It's Texas seems to be changing a little bit. Maybe they open up a casino eventually. Things will change, right? With time, things happen. At the end of the day, everybody just wants a piece of the rake, right? Everybody wants a piece of that gorgeous, gorgeous rake. Was there some talk of Adelson's group trying to open up casinos in Texas? Yeah, I've heard rumors of that. I've heard rumors of that for sure. Rays, man, there's been some big pots brewing. And we can have some combo draws. Potentially, it gets called. Ace of Hearts, one of those combo draws does come in with the flush. Big pot. There's 50K in play. One SPR is a huge, huge swing. All the chips. Wow. $93,000 pot over to Daniel. Big spot there. All right. And the ride continues. The dude says Michigan's governor just approved multi-state pools for online poker in Michigan. That's great news. That's great news. I still think you need that California domino to fall at some point. It's just not the same. It's such a massive pool in California that it's like not until that domino falls, it's just not the same. I think it's not the same. It's not the same. We need Cali, and it's the hardest one of the states, right? Because of all of the like Indian casinos and stuff like that. All those people have a lot of pull in that state. It's a lot of money that comes through that. So it's gonna be a tough one, but yeah, I mean it's a step in the right direction. New Jersey, Nevada, get Michigan in the mix. It's a good thing. Pennsylvania's already in the mix, right? But we need them to open up as well. You get states like that, right? And then New York maybe next. That's really good, right? So you get New Jersey, New York, Michigan, Nevada, and Delaware, of course, is in there too. But once that California domino falls, I think it's a different ball game. See the one big blind lead again after the board pair from Daniel on the 4. This is so interesting. Like these one big blind leads to me are interesting because the initial turn seems simple, but the river split seems hard. Like what? The river split, it's like, okay, we have 8-6. Should we have bluffed that hand? Should we have checked that hand? What do we do with a 5? What do we do with a 10? How often do we bet a 10? How often do we bluff 8-6? I don't know, man. It seems hard. I'm not saying I you know, one of the key things that I've learned recently is like, it's okay to just say I don't know, you know? I don't know. It's a difficult spot. What is he supposed to do with 8-6 there? Is he supposed to bluff? How often is he supposed to bluff? I don't know. Poker and gambling are generally very different. Texas will never get a casino, but there are already 20 legal rooms there. Yeah, I do know that they view that somewhat differently. There's a lot of rooms in Texas, right? I've gone to TCH in Austin. I've also gone to the Palms Social in Austin. Both very nice rooms. I thought the Palms Social was a beautiful room. Very well done. In terms of aesthetics, the people were really nice, and the players were a lot of fun. So, yeah, I think the Texas rooms that I have been to have been pretty impressive so far. I am excited to go to some of the rooms in Dallas because I've heard it's really nice. So, we'll see. Dallas seems to be the spot. Love you guys. But what's up with the card colors? I don't know, man. You gotta talk to production. I'll see what I can do for you. But they don't like to be told about their card colors, man. They start timing people out, banning people. Like they're a little bit crazy in production, man, about their colors. Like don't fuck with the colors, man. It is what it is. Big spot on table number 2 after the turn gets best called by Doug. Another bomb. Man, Daniel's bringing heat. Six is like... Let's see if we can get a replay of this hand. It's kind of an interesting one. Daniel, 8-10, no good. Big call from Doug there. Huge call. Nice to have the 7. Nice to the 6. It's nice when the 6 pairs and you have a 7 that does not contain a 10 or an 8 or a 9. It's a good call. David says, I played the Lodge in Texas back in November. Room was too full. Be back soon after my second COVID shot. Yeah, I've heard that those, like the Lodge gets like packed. Like I've heard some of these Texas rooms just are like completely full, right? It's one of those where it's just like, it's pretty wild, right? That there's there's so much love for the game, so much need for action in Texas, that the rooms are completely full. I've seen some pictures of the rooms in Houston, and it's like a huge room. It's like 20 tables or something insane, with like a golf thing or whatever. I could be getting it wrong, like in terms of like maybe it's Houston, but I'm pretty sure it's Houston. I think it's called Rounders, but I'll tell you what, man. If I owned a room, it would not be called Rounders. No offense to them, just saying my own taste. It's kind of a cliche, but yeah. Austin is the only place I've sat at 1-2, and everyone had over $1,000. Yeah, man, it gets crazy. I've seen the games. Even like the 5-5, like it's 5-5. People are like completely packed. Odyssey says that's San Antonio. Yeah, San Antonio. I don't know, man. How many big cities can there possibly be in one state? Like, goddamn. If you go to New York, there's one city, New York City. That's it. All right, now fucking Texas has like 17 cities that are all important. Yo, Christian, what do you think about that check back with Ace Queen earlier in the match? I don't remember. Oh, when he turned spades, bombed it, and then rivered a queen and then checked back. It's probably fine. It's probably fine. Like, he needs to get called by worse, and maybe he doesn't after the turnover bet. Doesn't want to really value cut himself. I don't know. It's probably okay. 52 Social. I've heard of that club as well. 52 Social in Houston has 15 tables every day. That's better than Borgata. Like, Borgata, I don't think has 15 tables every single day. On the weekends, it might have like 40 though. But yeah, Prime Social in Houston doing $1 million guarantee tournament. Yeah, things are blowing up, man. It's pretty wild. Texas is a great place to be if you want to play poker. I really did enjoy the people there, even though, to be completely honest, I didn't enjoy being there during COVID. Like, it was not, to each their own. Like, everybody has to make their own decisions in terms of risk and stuff. But I personally, it's just like the environment in Texas is like people, like some people really care about COVID and some people really don't. So it's kind of like, it's not like Bellagio, right? Like, if I go to Bellagio, like, most people are like wearing the mask and the mask is being enforced, and like, the floor is like cleaning the tables and stuff. Like, Texas, not so much. Texas is like, they just do their thing. So sometimes, it depends on your level of comfort. Odyssey says, in Texas, I have hardly played a game where at least 3 people aren't straddling. Yeah, man, Texas is it's action. Raise on the river. Call. That's a 5. That's 2 5s. Chop chop. $52 Social is Johnny Chan's spot. Johnny Chan. Let's see how many. Johnny Chan. Johnny Chan, winner of the 1987 and 1988 WSOP main event for $625,000 and $700,000 respectively. All right. Let's see which one was the first one. 1991 was the first time the WSOP main event winner won $1 million. And then it's been $1 million minimum ever since. It was $1 million every year. It was exactly $1 million every year for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was $1 million minimum for 9 straight years after that. Bro, I know who Johnny Chan was. I was looking. I didn't know what year Johnny Chan won. So that was what I was looking for. I saw Johnny Chan, man. Come on. He made some insane fold with like aces or something to Phil Lock on Poker After Dark. Bro, I know every hand that was ever played on poker. I was like, I remember it. Every hand that's ever played on Poker After Dark. It's like I just like recall it. Boom. Yeah, he made like a pretty big fold. Like a snap fold too. It's pretty wild. Three bet pot. Call. Queen 8-7. A lot of availability for hands to develop on future streets, right? A lot of gut shots, hands like Jack 9, 9, 9, 10, 5, 6, 5, 4, gut shots plus. Daniel starts with a check. Doug goes with the small bet after checking, after the 3-better checks. Another queen rolls off the deck. Daniel has to have some hands that 3-bet check that are queen X's, or else he could just get an all-you-can-eat buffet on this run out. Not this time. Has Phil Lock quit poker? Probably a better question for Jennifer Tilley than myself, but I don't think he's quit. His name has like rumblings in my brain for some reason. I must have heard him playing somewhere recently, like overnight, but it's like it's faint in my brain, but I don't think he's quit. I just think you just haven't seen him. Nice bet. Nice call. I just think you haven't really seen him recently on any TV coverage. Although he is such a legend, like have to bring him on TV. Like if I was doing high stakes poker or poker after dark, any of those things, like Phil Lock's at the top of my list. He is his TV personality is amazing, right? He was like putting on these huge goggles one time in like one of those European cash games. He also just like, how do you not have Phil Lock and Tom Dwan at the table? Like it's perfect, right? They always had this like little back and forth and all this time, but yeah, I mean maybe he just like doesn't want TV time. Who knows, man? Like it's tough to know, but I would love to have him on. It's just one of the great personalities of No Limit Hold'em and just poker in general. I mean, his TV, he was just such a good character for TV. I mean, it's just perfect. Like pot size bet for Daniel on this ace king 4 king. Yeah, it's just perfect. He's just a really good. He's definitely one of the better ambassadors and also one of the better people for TV poker, and also one of the people that in TV poker, like let's say, like it wasn't even like he was action. Like he wasn't action. He was just good with the camera and good with his personality, right? He was just such a crazy person. Like so he's one of those good ones. Christian, my first time here. Why are you a Daniel Negreanu's fan and not neutral? Just asking if you're close friends or something. My friends are very close to Daniel, so I am going to root for Daniel because friends are of my friends. Wait, what? Enemy of my friend is my enemy, or whatever, some shit like that. You know the saying. I don't know these sayings, but yeah, I'm rooting for Daniel because my friends are close with Daniel. So there you go. And once upon a time, Doug called me a coward because I didn't want to play him or some shit like that. And then I told him he could get some hands if he wants. And then he stopped talking. So, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't really see myself rooting for Doug. I think he's a great poker player. Probably one of the best of our generation. But, you know. Three quarters from Daniel. We see this lead again on the paired board. I don't know about this one, man. Like, you know, I haven't commented on like good plays or bad plays, but like after Daniel starts with the big bet size, I don't really know if Doug should be leading small after the big bet size. It seems a little bit, I don't know. I'm not gonna like say yes or no, but the big bet size I think changes some things. So I'm curious how this plans out because Daniel now responds with a raise on the turn. I feel like pot. Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't know if after the big bet size, you like how much that block lead small on the bottom paired card comes into play. All in. Oh boy. Well, probably comes into play now. I don't know. Tough spot for Daniel. Man, Daniel, he's in a tough one, man. Like, Doug's repping 3x plus. But unlikely to be 10s full because he would 3-bet. Unlikely to be 8s full because he would 3-bet. So he's like literally repping just 3. Wow, Daniel's deep in this tank, man. Folds. Oof. It's frustrating. Frustrating for Daniel that he probably had some sort of a value hand that like turned into no longer a value hand after facing the shove. Doug can have hands like Queen 9 as well. Tough spot there. Doug up 65,000. And up and down we go. Check raise. After the 40% from Doug on 10-8-4. Daniel can have some like King 10 off, maybe some every now and then he has Ace 10 offsuit, and then he'll have a myriad of draws. 10-8 offsuit is also possible, of course. Doug goes with the call as well as a turn overbet on table number 1. We've seen this a lot. Ace 8-4 turn jack. A lot of bluffs available for Doug. Queen 10, 9-10, King 10, but also like his value region goes pretty far down, right? So like Ace Queen's like a pretty good freaking hand. So those two combinations result in Doug saying, I want to put in a lot of chips. Doug getting the best of this last half hour. Can someone recommend a book on combos in poker? I will say, I will say that stuff like, stuff like that, like just like very specific concepts that are like one subject and one concept that's very basic. I think people like Split Suit do very, very well. So yeah, like check him out. I think he has like a lot of videos on Red Chip Poker as well as like thepokerbank.com. So like if you want to learn about combos, I think that's like probably the easiest, like lowest barrier place to go. And it's a very basic thing, right? Like it's not, you're not gonna learn like, high level stuff. You're just gonna learn the basics there and then, move on from there. But yeah, I think combinatorics, that stuff's like pretty cool. Somebody just texted me saying, just saw the Lin hand. Wow. But yeah, I mean, whatever, bro. What are you gonna do? It's funny when like your friends like text you shit about your other friends. It's like, why am I in the middle of all this? Leave me alone. Like, sorry about that. Sorry, who was that? I'll put it in the chat. His name is Split Suit. Any of those guys are good. We're approaching 2 hours of play now. A lot of people have different thoughts on Rick Solomon, man. Like, some people think he's like tough, and then some people think he is like not like very bad. It's pretty wild how much of a legend he is, and also how polarizing of a take people have on his play, right? Because like pre-flop, the guy's like completely insane, right? Like he's just like playing every hand. He's in there. He's just like 9-7 off. I'm in. It's like, but he finds a way. Like he sometimes just finds the way to just make it happen. I don't know. I don't know how he does it. It's just, Durr was saying something on the coverage where he was like, I've never played with someone where one person is winning and everyone else is losing as much as Rick Solomon just like makes that happen more than anyone else. And I could see that happening, right? Where Rick Solomon wins, like everyone's winning and then Rick Solomon's losing. I'm sorry. I'm sure that happens too, but I meant it the other way around, where it's like everyone's losing but Rick Solomon's winning. $9.95. 40% call. 5. No lead this time. Board's a little different, potentially. Half pot win. Three bet win. Small pots going Daniel. Another 3-bet pot on the right table. Queen, Jack, 6. Could go multiple ways here. I thought Daniel was going to go 40, and he does. Backdoor 8. Probably going to see a little bit more checking. There are a lot of problematic cards in the river. Club, 9s and 10s. Jacks as well, of course, if you go through the bet line. Two-third. Win. Nice hand, Doug. Lee says, we all agree that Daniel has to post a win today, right? Or is it just becomes managing the deficit? Seems like Polk is back to his A game. I don't think he has to post a win. I think you don't want to get slaughtered, right? Like you don't want to make this like, you don't want to lose back-to-back 150Ks or something like that, right? But a lot of it's out of your control. Like, yeah, I mean, Doug's playing well. I'm not even sure Doug has stopped playing well. Like, I think he was potentially playing well the whole time. I just think that, swings are going to happen. So we're just seeing the swings continue to happen. But I do think that for this to become a competitive match, we're going to need to see some run good from Daniel. So 22,000 his way, maybe that's a start. But we are going to need to see some run good from Daniel, right? If he runs even, we're just going to see this maintain throughout. So they're going to need to see a little bit of run good, maybe get that all-in EV a little bit higher. Trip 5s is going to help. But yeah, I think we're going to need to see some run good from Daniel eventually. Rick Solomon, you have to deal with the fact that he's fearless. If you get past that, you have to believe you have an edge. Yeah, that could be true. He's tricky though. I mean, he's tricky. He's not. He doesn't play as face up as people think, right? He has like all different types of hands and all different lines. Puts a lot of money in. You guys should have gotten Veronica Brill the zip-up hoodie. Is that what you want, David? I could make it work for you. I could make it happen. Isn't it harder to play a guy like Rick Solomon because it's harder to put him on a hand? He could have anything, as he seems he doesn't value money. Probably values money, just has a lot of it, or a lot of access to it, or both. So he's tough because, yeah, I mean, he is what can you say, man? Like, he's one of those guys that I've never played with him, but I've seen a lot of his, when he's on, I've watched, because he usually only plays the biggest stakes, right? So I will say that you just gotta pay, and sometimes it sucks because he's probably slightly weighted towards more value than people give him credit. Like I haven't seen him make like massive bluffs like in any of his like coverage, but I think the frequency in which he plays hands pre-flop is somewhat of an illusion, right? Like there are players that are pretty loose pre-flop but pretty passive post, right? So maybe he'll like 3-bet and call bets and stuff like that pre-flop, but post-flop, oh, they're all 4-bet, 5-bet. Daniel calls with 9s. He needs to hold this one. No ace. Huge call after the 5-bet all in with the ace 4 of diamonds. Wow. Well, there you go. 130,000. It's a big call. It's a big shove. All right. 50,000. 50,000. Ace 4 DD. Daniel up 20K. Things are just, regular day in the neighborhood. Little regular day in the neighborhood. Back and forth we go. Down 60K, up 20K. Down 60K, up 20K. $11,300 in the middle. Back to my thoughts on Rick Solomon. So I think he's a player type that puts in a lot of money in pre-flop and doesn't necessarily put in a lot of aggressive money in post-flop. So he'll call a lot pre-flop, he'll call a lot post-flop and all this stuff, but I don't think he puts in a lot of aggressive actions post-flop, and that illusion of action gets him paid big. Ace Jack, nice hand, 26,000 to Daniel on a roll. That illusion of action gets him paid. That's at least my my thoughts, and I've never played with him, and I've also have a very short sample size of his play, right? I've maybe seen six sessions of him on TV, right? Not counting the one drop, right? Because that's very unique. But I do think that he is he's one of those guys that like puts in a lot of money like for cheap, whatever. Like if that's a thing, like that's probably not a thing, but like you know what I mean. Like when the money is cheaper than on the other streets, he puts in a lot of those cheap dollars, and then when he hits like hard, he gets paid because people are just like remembering that he puts in a lot of money in with a lot of hands. And there you have it, Rick Solomon, legend of the game. Probably there's a chance, there's actually a real chance that this is true. Rick Solomon, I don't know, he might be the most profitable poker player of all time. It could be true. It could 100% be true. Like, I don't know, but like he could be. Like, people might on the low not know that. Like, he could be the most profitable player of all time, easily. I don't know. I mean, he plays some massive games where he might be the best player in the game, or maybe top 2 or 3. Could be the most profitable player ever. We don't know, and we'll never know, but there's a chance. Chin, listen to your vlogcast today. Great stuff. Are you going to be on the upcoming game of Poker Out Loud? Listen, man, if I'm not on Poker Out Loud, that's crazy if I'm not on Poker Out Loud. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be on it. I'm going to be on the pro version, right? So I believe the lineup right now is myself, Matt Berkey, Lynn G, Landon Tice, Jeremiah Williams, and one more person that we will ask. We're throwing around some names. Right now, we're thinking maybe Chris Kombalinka, will fit the mold pretty nicely as he's still young and fits the theme of the show. All in from Daniel. Ship the money, 90,000, baby. But we'll see. We'll see. And then, it makes it a little harder to get, some people because of COVID dynamics and things like that. And like, I don't want to force, I don't want to call in a favor and then, force people to like quarantine and stuff like that if they really like are doing it as a favor rather than like, them kind of wanting to be part of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the season. I feel like I'm playing really well. Currently, I feel like I can provide some value. And this one's unique, right? Because like I've been thinking about this a lot. Like I play with this group of people a lot, right? Like Lynn and Jeremiah. And I expect to be playing with them for an extended period of time, for probably a long time. Like, I don't know, these guys are young. They might be around for the next 10 years, right? So there's a little bit of like, I definitely want to provide value to the people that are subscribers to Solve for Why, but at the same time, I don't want to reveal like my entire frequencies to people that I'm going to play every day, for the next, 10 years or something like that. So I have to think about that more. I have to think about a way where like I could definitely provide the value without revealing the frequencies of what the things that I'm doing. Because that's a lot of information. And I'm for sure going to be watching and trying to find out what Jeremiah is doing at like a very close level. Like, so it's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic. I've thought about it more of like, how am I going to do this? Because I want to toe that line correctly, so we'll see. Chin, any advice on how to avoid casino games? I mean, just don't go to the casino. I mean, that one's easy. Oh, you mean like roulette and blackjack? I mean, if you got a little love for the devil games, I don't know, man. You got to find another hobby.
Really?
You got to find something else
Like it's because of this.
that you like. Got to find something else in the casino that you like. Maybe some nice lady. A nice lady that you like in the casino would help. Don't bring extra money. That helps. Just go to the poker room, get a box in the poker room. Leave the money in the box when you leave the poker room. That way, when you leave the poker room, you have no money. If you have no money, they're not gonna take it. That's the move. Get a box. When you get to the box, you take the money out. When you leave the poker room, you don't leave without putting your money in the poker room. So, with that said, we have a special guest appearance from Matt Berkey himself. He's going to make an appearance. I'm going to have a bite to eat while my man gets in the booth, holds it down for all of you. It's nice to see that you get the pleasant side of the stream where Daniel's up 60K and I had to suffer while Doug was up 60K.
I watched the whole thing, man.
Oh, it's nice to watch from the sidelines. Jack 7, no bueno. Wow, pot size bet. Oh, interesting. Pot size bet with that Jack 7. All right, well, I will take a small little break, get a bite to eat, maybe text some people that really are waiting for text back. And I'll leave you all in good hands. Some Carolina blue, some Duke blue. This guy can't pick a side. With that said, have at it, Matt Berkey. Enjoy.
Thanks, man. You just gonna sit there?
I mean, introduce the show. Do something. I'm out of here.
All right, what up, team? You got me for 30 minutes. I'm giving Chin a little relief while I wait for some sims I ran to complete. What do we got so far? It seems like a real swingy day. Saw the big all-in with 9s versus ace-4 suited for Daniel. Saw that big river spot that he was in where he ultimately potted and folded. Well, you saw me chatting about that spot. I'd be interested to hear or see or know what hands he had in that scenario. I think his best bet calls there are probably hands like Jack 10 for top 2. I imagine the vast majority of Doug's bluff range is going to come from his weakest 9x. So I don't think he's leading much ace 9 or king 9 unless it's exactly king 9 of clubs on the turn. And I doubt that he checked rips king 9 of clubs, probably just check folds that one. Doesn't have great properties. So I imagine it's going to be a lot more of like 9-8, 9-7. 9-7 of which got there. Queen 9 also got there. So he's going to have a lot of combinations of both of those. I don't really think he's going to have a ton of 3x, though maybe exploitatively speaking, he is leading like his ace 3s on that particular turn. Just so that he can protect his queen 9, 9-7, 8-9 that he also chooses to lead. It's a weird lead spot, but worked out really favorably for him. I said it like on a different river, on a non-jack river, like on a stone brick. That's a good spot for Daniel to consider a 3x pot shove. We haven't really seen him employ that though. He's pretty much just a pot better in those 3 SPR situations, you know? So yeah, I don't know. Kind of a fascinating spot. One of those scenarios where I wish we had access to the whole cards. We could do a little bit deeper dive into analyzing them, but nevertheless, he is still up almost a buy-in. Very swingy day. He had 110,000 on the right, and then he was as low as back down to starting stack. It's pretty crazy. Just see like 3 buy-in swings on a table. Purple table here. I didn't see how we got here. This pot escalated quickly. I'm pretty sure it was a 3-bet bet. The king is actually less favorable for Daniel if he did go bet, which I think that he did. Doug's going to hit him with the 75%. He bet very quickly. I haven't noticed much in the way of timing tells, but that was probably the fastest I've ever seen Doug bet. It just so happens that we were paying pretty close attention. He does have the 2 pairs. It was an auto bet for him. I would imagine if we can get a replay, that'd be great. But assuming that went 3-bet, I imagine Daniel's in like the ace queen, ace jack type of variety. Doug playing awfully quick. That was a snap 3-bet also. This is speed that I don't really see too much out of him. Must feel pretty locked in a position to just kind of rip after it. Daniel says, no mas. I need a pee break. Things are starting to swing in your favor again, Polk. We're going to chill for a minute. They're pretty deep on both. I think that they are. Okay, so here we're going to have a replay. It is a 3-bet pot. Daniel goes very small on flop, a little over quarter. Pots the turn. And then check calls 3/4 on the river. Okay, so we're probably actually looking more like ace 6, ace 9 scenario. Maybe some king queen of spades. I don't think that makes sense. King 9 of spades. No, that also probably doesn't make a ton of sense. King 6 of spades. That would be a good call. That would probably be the king that he would want to call the most with. Yeah, a little bit of a strange scenario, just because when Daniel pot bets that turn, he's repping pretty pole, so he could have king 6 of diamonds too, I suppose. He could have had ace x of diamonds, ace 9 of diamonds, ace 6 of diamonds. Those hands make a lot of sense. Pretty tough on the river whenever he has those types of hands. Difficult to think Doug is betting worse value. So you really do only have a bluff catcher. Makes more sense, I suppose, that Daniel just unblocks draws, has like ace queen of hearts. That ultimately serves as a pretty good bluff catcher, but nonetheless, he was clipped. Doug had the 2 pairs. Okay, so they're not deep on table purple any longer after that pot. I guess Daniel did kind of lose a big one. Full swing. Daniel goes from plus 60 to minus 25K rather quickly. Been a rocky day. We're going to see a lot of review, I think, on this one. I hope Daniel brings the wine. Purple table. Okay, yeah. So Doug is just like preloaded, ready to rock. Like these bets are firing out. He wants to get in max volume right now. So he does go for about 3rd pot here on the 1-liner. Daniel rips. Could be a free roll spot for Daniel, which is a real dream. Could have something like 10x of diamonds or king 10, where you hope to get your opponent calling, drawing to a chop. Pretty good scenarios to be all in. Doug's going to have a fair amount of defense there. Not a ton. He's obviously going to fold a fair amount of 2 pair. And it's going to be pretty tough for Daniel to find bluffs. I think his best bluff candidates would be like king X of diamonds. Hands that have a 2-way draw and block the nuts. That would make sense to me. 3-bet pot here on purple. Ace 9-5. Daniel should be going. He could actually have 2 bet sizes here, but no surprise he does choose the small one. Doug snaps. The speed of Polk's play right now is remarkable. I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but I just have not seen this. It's almost like he has like buttons pre-clicked. Turn 10 of hearts goes check, check. River 10 of clubs. They probably have an equal distribution of 10x. Daniel actually probably has slightly more since he would be c-betting the heart variety, where Doug is unlikely to be calling it. He does block bet the better 9, which got counterfeit on the river for a chop. There's almost like some level of, I don't want to say ego, but some level of I know more than you do kind of thing when Doug acts this quickly, where he's just kind of like on a level of like, I don't even need to think about these spots. Like I'm just preloaded, ready to rock, and you are in the tank every time I make a decision. But to be fair, when your opponent's playing that quickly, I think that it behooves Daniel to slow down. It seems like it could insinuate some level of impatience on Doug's side. Don't really know. Difficult to say. Small bet here on table blue. King 7-5 rainbow. Turn 6. We'll see Daniel use a big bet and a check. I think for the majority of his range, a lot of his king X is just going to check back. Probably be betting his king 8, his king 4. He does go for pot. That'll be a lot of hands that include an 8, 9, or 4. Some naked clubs, I suppose, but you don't really want to get blown off that type of equity. 5-5-3, 2 diamonds. Doug goes for third. Daniel chooses to just call. We have seen him check raise these spots a fair bit. Obviously, that doesn't mean he's going to do it every time. Turn 3. Daniel could work in some leads here. He probably has advantage in both the 5x and 3x, and Doug has a big advantage in ace highs. So it's a good way to attempt to get 2 streets when you're at top, but it's very difficult to marry with bluffs. I wouldn't be surprised to see some overbetting here on the river out of Daniel. He elects to just check and chop. That makes sense with king high. Would have been a cool lead. Probably not a good lead though with his hand. Would have been a cool lead because he picks up the flush draw, which is very likely to be live. But the problem is when you lead, you will often narrow Doug's hand range to only better. He's not going to start calling queen high. So he really gains nothing by betting there. It'd make more sense if he had like 8, 9 of spades to potentially lead there, where you could possibly get better to fold. 10 high, jack high, queen high. 3-bet here on table purple. King 7-6 rainbow. Doug snap. Small bets. Quarter pot. I think Daniel can have some raises here. This is a pretty fair texture for in position to have coverage. He's going to have a lot of the middle, a lot of hands that wrap around the 7. He's also going to have some reasonable strong kings, king, queen, some king, jack, king, 10. Turn is a 10. I think that's slightly advantageous to Daniel. It's going to improve the equity of Doug's range, but it's going to improve Daniel's showdown range a lot. He'll have a lot of king 10, a lot of 8, 9. Given that it's a rainbow card, not surprised to see him go on the smaller side. His big hands are going to want to set up for a big bet on the river. I think that he went really small, though. I think like half to 2/3. I would say somewhere between like 40 and 60 is probably more in line with what his range wants to do in that particular spot. But, you know, we're kind of splitting hairs a little bit. I'm not surprised to see him bet the jack on the end. A lot of his bluffs come through. His strong hands are still strong. So he is going to find a lot of bets on that card. I totally have forgotten about chat. I've let you down. I had it in front of me on a computer for so long that I forgot to pull it up on my phone. Stingray pot on both sides. Doug hits him with the halfer on 10-9-4 two-tone. Daniel just calls. Turn 6 of clubs. Slightly favors Daniel's range, I think. They're going to have pretty close to even distributions of 7-8. Doug actually might have slightly more. But Daniel is probably going to favor... yeah, actually, maybe it does favor Doug's range a little bit. Running 6s, I wouldn't be surprised to see some block betting out of Daniel here. He will have a lot of 6x. Maybe not a lot because it is the 6 of clubs on the turn. So he has the old queen 8. Gets called by the ace high. It's unfortunate. Good hand by both, I believe. I don't know how picky Doug needs to be with his ace high calls in that particular spot. Ace 5 obviously not the best of the hands that he could be calling with from the ace high perspective, but snapped it right off. He does unblock the 8x bluffs, and there's a lot of them. What's going on in this chat? Left hand sleeves talking about playing craps. Hookers and blows. What are you guys? Man, this must be the end of when Chin was on here. Hey Berkey, what are your thoughts about timing tells online? Thanks again for the content. I would say generally speaking, they're not too reliable. There's actually software out there that you can utilize to ensure that you take the same amount of time between every decision. But, you know, there are some points where there's probably something worth reading into. Like the fact that Doug's acting fast now consistently, I don't really think there's anything to read into it. Best I can tell is that Doug just wants to get in more hands this session as fast as possible, and that's a byproduct of the speed. Table purple here. Sorry, I was looking at the comments. I missed the action up until this point, but we're facing 2/3 pot here on the end. I imagine this was a 3-bet pot. Potentially bet out of Daniel, and then a check fold on the river. Snap 3-bet. I gotta tell you, I just recently started playing heads up. Okay, so we're gonna see a replay of the last hand. I shouldn't say recently. Like over this past year, I've played a fair bit of heads up. And when you're kind of in a flow state, man, you love getting these bigger bets in as fast as possible. 2/3 on the flop, check on the turn, makes perfect sense. I think Daniel can block a lot on that deuce. I imagine he just had like no showdown value, like a 9-10 type holding that just wanted to surrender. But yeah, I do think that like his range has a fair amount of blocks in them. He's just gonna be checking the 6 at a pretty high frequency. So he'll have plenty of queen X, so of like 10s, jacks, and other hands of reasonable showdown value that want to go for it. Silverlicious says, hey Burke, why do you only have 30 minutes as you said? I'm building out tomorrow's webinar. It's multifaceted and pretty complex. Sorry, tomorrow's mastermind. Let me get the branding correct. So yeah, it's pretty complex. It's multifaceted. It requires me running regular solves as well as node block solves, and I basically am just dipping in while the node blocks are running. Yeah, I imagine it's gonna be late night for me tonight. Started working on this on Tuesday. Kind of have been slowly getting through the solver work. I've been dragging my feet a little bit since we had other things like the stream and the vlogcast, and I was running sims for trashing the poker guys and everything it is that they stand for. So yeah, now here on crunch time, and I probably have a solid 5 or 6 hours of work ahead of me. Daniel goes for the one big blind bet on the turn. Sees an unfortunate river as far as his range is concerned. I imagine we're on table purple for what it's worth. I imagine we're going to see a massive overbet out of Doug here, unless he just has ace high, in which case he's going to check down. I don't think Daniel bets this river. Yeah, so check down with king high. That makes sense. Really unfortunate run out for Daniel with his gutter. Big pot on table blue. 30K getting shipped Doug Polk's way. Goes for thin value with the king 3. Pretty clear there that Daniel likely had a queen. That's going to shift things back in the favor of Doug, probably pushing plus 20K at this point. Swingy, baby. Half a buy-in here and there. Duck, move, duck, move. We might just see a 100K swing before this this match ends. We might see a 100K swing before I get out of the booth. Who knows? Got to work on the camera angle. It's crooked. Looks like I am keeping myself from falling downhill. Oh no. No. I'm sliding. Single raise pot on both. Blue, it looks like we got to the river with a half pot on flop or turn, or maybe 10% are on flop. Small bet on turn. Daniel's going to win that one with top pair of jacks. We'll turn to second pair. What do we got here? Table purple. Single raise pot, I believe. Flop. Big bet. Call. Turn check check. Running sixes. This is going to be very favorable for Doug's range. Oh, Mr. Hank Shua just in the building. Yep, pretty unfortunate. Daniel just has a bluff catcher. Doug has a standard value hand. And we go down more. We go down more. Thanks, big guy. You're the best. If you guys weren't aware, Andre is just a one-man fucking show out here doing all the hard work while I just cherry pick the things I want to complain about. What else is going on in this chat? Yeah, listen to Alex Boyer. Smash that like button. Let's go. What the deal? When it's solved for why I headed back to Austin, considering a move down there and wondering when to expect you guys. To be determined. We're in talks with a lot of different rooms. We will definitely be doing some work in Texas this year. Don't know what that is yet. I don't want to speculate too much just because it's such a wide-ranging variety of things on the table. But I can assure you that we will be back to Austin and then possibly Houston and Dallas at some point. Berkey, any idea what your IQ is? No. It's tough to say. I've only ever taken one IQ test. I was in kindergarten. It was to get into the gifted class. To get into the gifted program, I think you needed a 140 IQ. I'm pretty sure. Well, here's the thing. I'm totally speculating, actually, because I'm going off of what my mother said. So, according to what she told me, which very easily could have been a bold-faced lie, she told me that you needed, I think, a 140 IQ to get in there, and I tested 139. I think both of those things are very unlikely to be true. I think it's very reasonable that the barrier of entry to the gifted class was lower, and I think it's very reasonable that I tested lower on the IQ chart. Especially judging by like the kids in my class who were actually in the gifted program. I finished higher than most of them in like class rank or whatever. Not that they weren't smart, but I just highly doubt that everybody in that class had a 140 IQ or higher. So yeah, I'm probably pretty pedestrian when it's all said and done. Whatever, maybe 20% above average. Check raise here out of Polk. About 2.5x the size of Daniel's raise. We could see some 3-bets come through on this texture. It's wet enough. We do just see a call. 5 is very favorable for Daniel. Doug does check, as we would expect. I think Daniel will do some small betting here. Some protection betting, showdown-driven betting. Probably not very much big betting. What do I know? What the fuck do I know, guys? Just comes out hammering with the pot size bet. He does have the overpair advantage, but on queen high boards, I don't know that matters all that much when you get check raised. However, now we land ourselves on a 26K river spot. The 6 comes through, so 7-8 does complete. Diamonds have missed. Daniel's not going to want to be bluffing diamonds. He goes 3/4 pot. That's in line with 1 pair type holdings, so makes sense to me. Would have some 7-8 in that range, I hope. Though I don't know how much 7-8 is potting turn, but I'm sure more than 0 for sure. Even if it's just like 7-8 of diamonds and a few other holdings, I think that he lands there with enough value to justify 3/4 pot and definitely enough bluffs. It looks like Mr. Soto has finished his mid-evening snack. He's going to rejoin us. Welcome, sir. Welcome to my show. The disrespect. My name is under your face. You've been removed. I call it my show. Do you think Chin left it on his own accord?
Thank you. I'm back.
You're back and you have your own nameplate. Congratulations. There have been some.
What just happened, bro?
There have been some reversals.
Oh my god! I can't leave anything with you.
He went from plus 60 to minus 25 to plus 20 to minus 20 to even to minus 25.
So, small pots.
Yeah, real small. I had a lot to talk about. I don't think I actually stopped calling the action at any one point, which is rare for these types of things. That's the most strategy I've talked in a Polk Negreanu heads up match, I think, in the 28 streams we've done.
Oh, those some big hands. That's crazy. I mean, it's a good show.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed it. I have to run back to my house, pick up a hard drive that has these sims on it, and get back to fucking work. If you guys haven't already, sign up to Solve for Why TV. I'm running a mastermind tomorrow. They're supposed to be 2 hours. I'm planning for 4, to be quite honest. I think that this is a big topic. I think that it's a lot to cover. I expect to be working until the wee hours of the morning. And you bet your fucking ass I'm going to be at the gym 8 a.m. after my ice bath and sauna session. So I'm not going to be tired. I'm going to be ready to rock. If you guys want access to tomorrow's mastermind, sign up to Solve for Why TV, $9.99 a month. Well worth the price of admission just for tomorrow alone. You'll be emailed a link and, come with questions. Come with questions. If you're not already a part of our Slack group too, be sure to sign up for that. It's free. We have like 1,500 members. Everybody's pretty active. I make these announcements there as well, and we also carry on the discussion after the mastermind ends there. So if you want that link, head over to our Twitter page. It is at SolveForYTV. The link is the pinned tweet, or you can just check out the description below.
Oh, shit.
What happened?
You big time somebody yesterday.
Who'd I big time?
You big time everyone at Sahara last night.
I didn't big time them. I fucking couldn't do it, man. I tried so hard. I was asleep by 9:45.
Damn.
I'm burning on both ends, man. I can't keep up with every commitment. I'm sorry, guys. I promise I'll get there one of these weeks, hopefully next week. But yeah, there was just no shot I was gonna make it last night.
Well, hopefully everyone makes your stream. If Daniel wins 100K.
Wow, we lowered the barrier.
Because he's losing right now. He's losing.
Yeah,
it's
right.
different.
Hey,
Nice Full's gonna help.
He not losing now.
Fuck.
You already started. You already started it. What happens if they win 100K?
All right. If Daniel wins 100K, 5 free memberships for tomorrow.
Let's fucking go. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time. Christian, take him home, baby.
You think you're the only one working out. All right. Hopefully Berkey's not the only one that gets action. Now we're up 20K, 80K, and we hold. That's a good day. I think Berkey talked more strategy because you guys were talking strategy on the vlog today. I really liked it when you guys do the solver stuff on the vlog. Would love to see more of it. Yeah, I think we could do that. I don't see why not. I think it's one of those things that the vlog is not supposed to be strategy. That's the problem. Like, we try to keep it like a all-encompassing show, some strategy, a little bit of current events, like our opinions and shit on different topics. But yeah, I think we could do it every now and then. I think it's kind of a good, maybe a little segment. The strategy segment. Jack of diamonds on the turn. This is a 3-bet pot on the left from Daniel. He goes with a bet. Jack of diamonds does bring in some backdoors, and brings in king 10, which are going to be in Doug's range. Doug's now starting with a 3/4 pot after Daniel checks. Players did start very deep this hand. Daniel will have a fair amount of like ace king, king 10, some king queen as well here. Ace king it is. Nice hand, Daniel. 28,800 going to the good guys. Speaking of an actual vlog, lol. When is the Palms vlog coming out? It's in the works. It is in the works. It's in the works. I think you'll see it within a. I think you'll see it within 3 weeks. 3 weeks. These guys, our production team has a lot going on, man. They have to do a whole movie, you know, to be determined. Is coming out on Poker Go. That's coming out. They have to do videos for the training site, and now they also have to do a vlog. There's a lot of things on their desk over here telling them to hurry up. Why don't you start working for our production team? We'll pay you minimum wage. Is the ace king a call if Doug jams the river for 2x? Probably not. Probably not. You could just have king 10 yourself. I mean, having a king is pretty good, but I think you just lose to a fair amount of value hands. Like, there's also like ace queen that can be had from Doug. However, unlikely that Doug shoves ace queen because it just double blocks pretty hard in terms of like what's gonna call or whatever. So I just don't think Ace. Nah, I just don't think 2x pot is going to be used a lot, Jason. It's just a, kind of a rare size. Whatever happened to the documentary on Oscar? Yeah, that's to be determined. It's coming out shortly. I would say there should be an announcement within the next 30 days of when you'll be able to see it. It's 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 done. It's done. It's complete. I think we just need to get in line with the marketing side of it, and that's it. Ready to go. But in terms of, I've watched it, and I thought it was a good show. So I'm excited for all of you to watch it as well. It was interesting, right? I had this discussion the other day. So Oscar, so for those of you that don't know, I don't know how many of you know the story of To Be Determined, but effectively one of my best friends, and it still is my best friend, he's literally like grinding the underground New Jersey, New York scene 4 or 5 days a week, right? And then we're talking about like 1-2 no limit with a $30 rake, right? He's literally grinding those games. He's like staked in those games, right? So how it works in New Jersey is like, if they think you're like pretty good or whatever, the underground guys will, like the underground game runners will throw you a free roll every day that you go. So it's like 50-50 free roll, right? And let's say they'll sit you with like $500 and it's like 1-2. So that's really good in terms of like your profit, like you can never lose, but at the same time the rake is $30. So it's like, it's literally impossible for you to beat the game, like if you actually were keeping track of your like hourly or like big blinds per hour or whatever. This is a 3-bet pot. Daniel starts with a bet, gets checked, and Doug goes for the 3/4 pot. Okay, so they're raking $30, right? That's a $30 cap. It's 1-2 no limit, so they're literally raking 15 bigs. There's no way you can beat that. Like, and I've had this discussion with people before, but because they're like the game runners are giving the good players a free roll every night, then it does kind of become profitable for the people, right? That like the pros or whatever. And it makes sense because like they can never lose and they're getting a free roll. So if they just lose the 500 that night, they just come back the next night and it's another free roll, right? And every time they win, it's 50-50. So it's profitable, but the game is like they're raking insane. So like how can they make money? So this is the mix that Oscar's in and has been in for a very long time. And that's kind of how I came up. Like I was playing those games 5 nights a week on a free roll every night from the game runners until I built up some money and was like, okay, I'm just gonna take my shot. And it's like one of those things that is just like, I thought it was really cool to cover the story because Oscar is like a really good friend of mine and he is in that scene, that underground scene every day. And as much as I've tried to pull him out of it, like he just doesn't do it, right? So it's a pretty cool story of both the underground scene in New Jersey as well as like, you know, having someone in there that is literally like working a job, right? But the wage is so low, like how does he get out of it? And that's the story, right? It's like, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like it was a lot. It was emotionally also was like difficult because I'm exposing him to the world, right? Like the vulnerability of it all. Like he's not rich by any means. Like he's literally in the grind, like playing these fucking underground games in factories and shit. And honestly, um, and this is between, whatever. Like, I'll say it here. I don't know how many people are watching or whatever, but like, I didn't think Pokogo or whatever like paid him enough. So recently, I was like, yo, like, you're a really good friend of mine. Like, I really appreciate you doing this for me because I know that you did this documentary for me more than anything else. And I literally like came out of pocket and gave him 5,000 of my own bucks, and I was like, yo, here, bro, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, because I know he did it for me. He didn't do it because like Pokergo paid him or like whatever. Like, because they didn't pay him that much anyway. Like, literally gave him dust. Like, so like I was like, yo, like, I know you did it for me. Here's 5K. Like, whatever happens. Like, I know people are gonna like judge you for this documentary or whatever, but like he was really appreciative of that. So like, he's my friend, and like it's gonna be one of those difficult to watch documentaries on my end and his end. 7 ball for Daniel. Andy said, oh, it's like the Toronto documentary on Underground. I did see that, I think. Maybe it was like National Geographic or something. But yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I used to date a girl in Toronto. She was Albanian. Her name was Elsa. I wonder whatever happened to her. Single raise pot, queen 4-3, 2 spades. This is a very interesting pot also on the left. I mean on the right, excuse me. What's the drink? This is a protein shake. It's not even a shake, bro. This is like straight raw. Like I put the fucking protein, then I put water and ice, and then I hit the blender. Boom. That's it. It's just straight protein and water and ice. Nothing else. Queen 9 for Daniel, 9,000 going his way. Things seem the ship is correcting. 20,000. James says, I found criticisms of Berkey's old hand histories bizarre. Check raise from Daniel after checking the river. Repping pretty much ace X here. No, not this time. 5-7 offsuit. Nice hand from Doug. Checking down the queen. Why do certain players seem to be targeted in your opinion? The incorrect rationale for dissecting each street felt like an agenda. I think that I said this yesterday, I think that people think that content maybe is like a zero-sum game where you create content. If you tear someone else down, then like your content gets like elevated, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I do think that it's a positive sum game where it would be great if we all kind of work together. And like, for example, Kevin Rabichow came on this stream, right? And I think he's magnificent in terms of the way he eloquently says his heads up thought process. But it would have been very easy for Phil Goffon and Run It Once to just say, no, you're not going on a competitor's stream to talk about heads up. Like, you like, that's not gonna happen, right? So it's one of those things where it's like you don't necessarily have to tear one person down to bring yourself up. I think in the way we live in this environment, I think it's just better if we all unify and make poker itself a bigger platform, right? And when you make poker itself a bigger platform, there's room for more people, right? So that's kind of where I stand. I know sometimes I joke around and say like, "Oh, why is Landon on on Joey's stream and shit like that?" But I really like, of course I would love him on our stream because like he's one of our guys. But it's not something where I would ever say like, no, like you can't do that because that's insane. Like I think that it's just like pretty positive, like maintaining a positive and like sharing value with everyone. It's like very good. What would be very good is if Daniel finds the correct call or the correct fold. Deep must have like a king combo. Wow, very long. Fold. I hope it was right. I hope it was right. Yeah, I think that's where I stand. So effectively, like I don't think they do it maliciously in terms of like teardown pieces or things like that. Like I know I saw the tweet from Berkey, in terms of like teardowns and stuff like that. I don't think they particularly did it maliciously. I think for sure, Doug in the past did pieces like that were not like goodwilled. So I don't think these guys do it intentionally. I just think it's like good for. I think it's like they get more clicks, right? Effectively, when they did it the first time, they saw that it got a lot of clicks, so they did it again and it got a lot of clicks. So now they're like 18 episodes deep of Matt Berkey because it's the same thing, right? Like Skip Bayless talks about LeBron. Why do you think he talks about LeBron? Because people always listen, right? So they replay the same story over and over and over again, right? It's like LeBron versus Michael, and it's like, yeah, because people watch it. So it's one of those things that it's at least the LeBron versus Michael is like a positive thing, right? They're not really tearing anyone down. They're effectively saying like these guys are both insanely good, right? In this situation, it's a little bit different because it was like, oh, is Berkey an amateur or something like that? It's a little bit unfair, but I really don't think they did it maliciously. And I also think that they probably, like they've mentioned, like they did respond today on Twitter, and they said like, hey, like it's like we just didn't really like we just ran with it, right? We just didn't like we just hit record and go. So we didn't really like do the research to figure out if like Berkey was a pro or anything like that. So they just kind of ran with it. And sure, like I understand it because at the same time, like I have a podcast too, and sometimes like I'm sure if someone went and nitpicked everything I said, then yeah, I'm sure I got a lot of shit wrong or I said some out of line stuff. But I think Berkey's argument was pretty reasonable too. It's like 18 episodes deep. Least you could have done was figure out if I was a pro in 2010. So I get it. I get both sides, man. I get it. I mean, I had to ride with Berkey because he's my man. So like, I'm not gonna let him like out to dry. He's like, yo, we riding. I'm like, all right, we riding. Like it's simple. Like he didn't have to tell me twice. He's like, yo, we're doing a podcast today about this. I'm like, all right, well, we're doing a podcast today about this. That's it. He didn't even say like, yo, we riding. He was like, yo, I really wouldn't never ask you to like do this, but like I was like, bro, relax, we're doing it. Like you don't have to come at me like that. Jason says, I thought it was funny that they admitted not putting in work for their podcast. Seems bad for what they try to present. Yeah, I mean, they're good. Like, okay, like this is the thing. I don't think they're bad guys. Like, I think they're cool. I just think that they yeah, like they hit the record and go, which does create some good things. Like the good thing about hitting record and go is that it's a very natural flowing pod, right? It's not forced, right? So when you hit record and go and you have good camaraderie with your partner, it's a very natural flowing pod, and it could take a lot of different avenues and a lot of different like turns that are all very natural, right? It's as if you're having a normal conversation with somebody about a topic. The negative parts about not doing the due diligence or whatever, or not being prepared, is that you get things wrong, and that's just how it is, right? Like I've done at this point, I've done like who knows how many podcasts, right? Like 80 pods, and after 80 pods, I could tell you both the pros and negatives of being prepared and not being prepared. Like it's that simple. When you're not prepared, it's very natural. When you're but you're gonna be like slipping up in certain spots. When you're very prepared, it's a lot more structured. So you have to like work on it coming across as natural and not overly prepared. And that's a skill in and of itself. So, you know, they didn't prepare and they got a couple things wrong and people got offended, and here we are. Like, I don't think they're bad people. I just think that's what it is. It's just weird that they have such a fetish for Burke. I could go back and nitpick old Phil Ivey hands that played poorly. Yeah, I think it's a clicks thing. Like, Berkey, when they put out a Berkey one, they probably got a lot more clicks than other ones, so they kept putting out Berkey ones. Would you have taken that situation more personally than Berkey if roles were reversed? I mean, I'm more emotional than Berkey in those situations, like, but I also think that, like, certain things, like Berkey's a known pro, right? Like, high level known pro. So if people say like he's not a known pro, it's like kind of offensive. If someone says like I'm not a known pro, I'm like, okay, like I'm not famous like that. Like you kind of have to be in poker to like, or like really deep in poker to know who I am. I don't think like a random person like that like is a poker fan knows me by any means. So I wouldn't have been as offended. But I'm sure there are things that they could have said that would have offended me, maybe. Like Doug Polk called me a coward one time and I got offended. I was like, all right, let's go. Like it's on site, like it's hands. Like I just, you know, like don't call me a coward and think I'm not gonna like stand up, you know? Honestly, a break-even online 1-2 player today would destroy 2010 nosebleeds. I think even below that, man. I don't know, not the break-even ones. I think like, bro, like 100 NL winning reg would beat those games. But that's not to say, you know, those people weren't good. It's just a facet of the times. Like it's just, it is what it is. It's like games evolve. You know, that's kind of the unfairness about as things evolve, comparing players from back then to now, because everything changes. It's like you can't really compare like who's a better, like when people say things like, oh, who's better, like John Stockton or Russell Westbrook, it's like, and then they say the argument of like, oh, well, Russell Westbrook would just blow by John Stockton and John Stockton would never like be able to like hold him down and things like that. It's like, yeah, well, this is like sports science has evolved. Like it's a completely different game now. Turnover bet from Doug gets called. River 5 of diamonds doesn't really change anything. I mean, it's very, very possible that Doug goes for another one here.
especially since Ace Deuce is only, yeah, there it is, the massive one. This is the thing, right? Ace Deuce and 6-7 are only possible in Doug's hands, and that creates this like situation. But I don't know. What are the hands that Daniel should call here? Winner. Huge bet. Nice hand from Doug. And back and forth we go. Doug now up 10,000. May or not be counting that pot though. Yeah, so it's just two different games, man. Like, and that happens to everything. Like you just can't compare. It's really hard to compare eras because Daniel sits out. It might be over. We've reached 3 hours. It's really hard to compare eras, man. Like this is why I think just saying you're the best of your era is a really like that should be in and of itself. But everyone always wants to say like who's the best of all time. So Software Y 100K subs before year end. That would be nice. I feel like we put in a lot of work, but I also wow, that's ... That's game. That's game, guys and girls. That's game. So a lot of swings, but at the end, not much. Not much has changed. Doug Polk, congratulations, $25,000 winner, $20,000 winner after the last hand. That's going to bring his lead up to 624,000 with another session in the books. We will be back Monday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know. Are we on Standard Time? I have no idea. Like Eastern Time. You guys know what I mean. But thank you for joining us. Of course, it is myself, Christian Soto, and for myself and Matt Berkey, who's no longer on the screen. We're out. Good night.